Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Renee Adams Show. I have Kal Jurdi here, and he is the Director of Operations for Walid's Fund, which is a nonprofit organization that serves those who are refugees in Lebanon and surrounding areas. And if I'm mistaken on that, we can correct it later. And also, he is the founder of Fearless Transformation. Welcome to the show, Kal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renee, for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I know there's going to be a lot of great information that you can share with the audience about what you do, all the humanitarian efforts that you do. And thank you to Shuli, who referred you over to me so you can share your wonderful story and journey with the audience.
Yes, Shuli is a very good friend of mine. So cool.
Great. And if Shuli is watching, hello, Shuli.
Hey.
So let's get started. So, Kal, if you can tell us a little bit about Walid's Fund and what you do exactly for the refugees.
Of course. So what is it that we do is, in a nutshell, let's start with the big picture. We help the Syrian refugees to learn job skills and crafts so that they become self-reliant rather than keep depending on outside help. So pretty much in a nutshell, we teach them how to fish for themselves rather than hand them a fish every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and they need that because these children, and if you can explain first, because I know some people may not have a broad idea of what a refugee is. So if you can kind of go into what a refugee actually is.
Yes, well, okay, so refugee means you had to evacuate your house or your home under very rough circumstances. Usually it's war. And the Syrian civil war that started 7-8 years ago had gotten 34 million Syrians that are scattered in a few countries around the world who accepted to have them over. Lebanon by itself, we looked at it, there are 1.6 million refugees in Lebanon alone. And the population of Lebanon is average around 4 million. So imagine, yes, it's like almost half, a little bit less than half the population of the country are Syrian refugees that are scattered all around the country and in concentration camps as well.
Wow. So how did you get started with this?
Well, I fell into it, Renee. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't plan for.
Right.
I started with me being in Chicago on a bus going to the airport after dropping off my rental, and I'm meeting Dr. Willard White, who is the founder of Walid's Fund.
Okay.
And we started a very small banter on the bus, which led to him taking me on under his wing as my mentor, since he's been over 35 years in nonprofit management for one of the largest firms in the world, Marks and Lundy. And he expressed his deep burning desire for making a difference where difference is not made, where it's an aid desert, such as a country that's Lebanon, especially towards the south, where there's a lot of political uncertainty.
Right.
So that's where it started. And then we went there to go, see what's going on. And we learned that that specific area, there are not a lot of help been provided by other nonprofits because, again, the political uncertainty towards the border between Syria, Palestine, Israel, and Lebanon. As a result, that's where we saw the needs, and that's when we started contributing a little bit at a time for the past 4 years now, until it flourished into a full-blown program that we have done 2 times already, and it created beautiful results that are sustainable up till today.
That is beautiful. I love that. So when you talk about sustaining these refugees and getting them out of the circumstances that they are in, how do they find you? How do you find these refugees? I mean, especially when you talk about Lebanon and going to these other countries.
That's a very good question, Renee. So typically it's not easy to access the refugee camps. There are a lot of security clearance that has to be done. Has to be facilitators to get us in. So we've been lucky to have a good, solid, collaborative relationship with the Lebanese Red Cross
Yeah.
in Lebanon, who helped us get into the camps with the okayness from the Lebanese government, obviously, and that's how we're able to access the camps. But it's very contained, and they're not allowed to go work outside. They're just living inside the camps. It's not as easy for them to do what they want to do, which is that's not where they belong. It's a temporary, supposed to be temporary time until the war is over.
Oh, okay. So this is more of a protection for them. I mean, when they're in the camps, I mean, it's secure. It is.
Yes,
Okay.
of course. Yes. I mean, anywhere is protection outside of Syria, right? As long as they're outside of Syria. So they fled their country, they fled their homes under the bombings of the jet planes and the fighters. They don't have the food. The family members dead. They're scattered who are not dead, who they are scattered around the world. So they just had to carry whatever they have. And these are people like you and me, Renee, that they had goals, they had dreams, that they had jobs, responsibilities, their fathers, mothers, kids going to school. They had to just take everything and run away, one night. And now they are living in these tents where, power is limited, shelter. It's very tough. When it rains, it gets the water underneath the tents. Heating is not as well provided either. So it's very complex and heartbreaking.
Yeah, heartfelt. I mean, you really start to look at life differently when you see situations around the world going on like this, and it can happen anywhere, like you said. And I was doing some research on the national emergency and national thing that's going on with Trump, and I'm pretty sure that has some kind of effect on that. Do you think?
I don't know. I try not to get involved in the political aspect of it, Renee. We focus on helping these people, and that's what we stick to. That's what we do best.
Right, and you are doing a great service for this. And when I saw that, I didn't know that could have been, something that could prevent them from getting help within the states or wherever they are, the country or the state. Because I didn't even know that in Phoenix they have, refugee camps where they are helping, these individuals as well. So when I saw that, that the emergency national wall, with the whole thing that he has going on right now has some kind of, or it could have some kind of effect with this whole thing. But as you said, the political side of that, we don't really want to get into that. But I think that it's helpful to that could be something that could affect it to a certain extent. So and also a lot of people don't realize that just around the world there are like 68 million people around the world that go through the refugee, issues and situations. So not only in Lebanon, they're all around the world, due to violence and, things
Actually,
like that.
they're around like five countries. Unfortunately, it's only in 5 or 6 countries, Turkey, Jordan, Germany, Lebanon, and I think there's United States. We have the lowest. I think that's like 100,000 or 120,000. So that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Maybe I'm
And
missing one more country,
that's
but
okay. Yeah, it's fine. Absolutely. It just gives us an idea, of what countries really, the mass majority of where
and
they
and
usually
Iraq
happen.
and Iraq.
And oh yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes. Okay. So you are absolutely doing a great deed, and you're following, your calling, if we can say that, into helping these individuals. And I'm sure that you are making a huge difference in their lives because they feel like they have hope. And
That
yeah,
is the word, Renee. It's hope. It's hope. I mean, we are doing a little bit of difference. I wish I could say we're doing a huge difference for them to go return back to their homes starting tomorrow. That would be the difference that I would like to see. But a little difference is what we're seeing, and we see that through their eyes when they sparkle, when they smile, the big smile comes on their face, when they learn how to now sew a piece of clothing that they put to their daughter, where her husband is dead, left her with 3 children, and now she can, make clothes for her, or the barber who has a family that wants to feed, and now started a own barber shop inside the refugee camp, where he's now completely self-sustainable. He doesn't need, outside help, and that's all on video. And I don't suppose it would make sense. If it does, I'll be happy to share a short video so that the audience can see what is happening over there.
absolutely. And while we're talking about that, if do you have the video to show right now?
I do. So it's the first one is a 2.5 minutes, and that shows the complete context, and then I can share the 1 minute later.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
We are here to implement the program Be the Change, where we have 3 workshops. We have 19 people learning sewing. We have 62 people learning makeup and hairstyling, and around 22 people learning how to cut hair, barbering.
منال خليفة من دورة الخياطة. تعلمت كيف أقص هيدا الروب لبنتي وعملته خيطته هناك بنفسي، وإن شاء الله أعلم بناتي كمان بالمستقبل. بكرة بس أروح على سوريا، بدي أفتح مشغل خياطة. بشكر المدربين وبشكر كل المساهمين اللي قدمونا هيك فرصة. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement. Your donation was able to make this happen. These people now see a future that they're living into. They can have goals that they want to go back to their country, rebuild it, and start businesses and be able to depend on themselves. So thanks again, and we'll stay hopeful.
Yes, if they would like to donate, you can go to Walid's Fund. The website is listed right here on the screen. So you can definitely go to Walid's Fund. Is that correct?
Yes, Renee, thank you.
Okay, yes. And if you can just let them know what the donations are used for.
Absolutely. So the next program is what we're doing is we don't just now teach them these life skills so that they become self-reliant, but also we teach them life skills so that now they can produce some products that they can use for themselves to barter between each other, and test the marketplace to see if that's something that the marketplace would bring value, such as organic soap, for example, is the next thing that we're going to work on, is teach them how to make soap that they can use themselves, and we can put it out in the market and see if we're going to be able to market it out there. So now it's not just being self-reliant, but also help them to generate some income for themselves and for the organization, for the NGO, so that we don't keep also dependent on donations. So it's a self-reliancy that we're embedding in our organization as well as within the refugees.
Absolutely. And I think that's a wonderful thing, just because it does teach them entrepreneurial skills, and they are able to find out what they are good at and be able to create other things that may be more of a fit for who they are in the world. So they are able to find themselves a place in the world when they actually is able to create something and people are drawn to it and want more of it. Then I think that makes them feel, like there's 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 some optimism there for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because everybody needs a little joy and happiness, and something like that you created will give you, at least for the moment, some happiness, right? It makes you feel so good in the moment, and every moment counts.
It really does. It really does. It's that energy level when it's, you see the people are producing rather than sitting. The energy is moving and they feel productive. They feel good about themselves. As a result, their kids, that energy is going to be transferred to their kids. And whatever they make out of that, they'll be able to help them to go to school, because many of these kids, they are not going to school. They're spending time playing cards in the camps. It's sad.
Right. Yeah, and to some degree, do you feel like that's a good thing that they may not be attending school? Just because of what I feel like sometimes it's so systematic. I know there's a lot of skills that you need to learn, in school, but sometimes it's so systematic that learning life skills just, but I just want to know your thoughts on that.
I am part of me is like, I'm with you, Renee. It's like the school system, it's not the best that we have in the world. I mean, Lebanon has, surprisingly is really good high educational system, and the Lebanese government have opened their doors and their schools for free for the refugees. All they have to do is just show up. So now the problem is showing up, because they need transportation, and they're not allowed to own cars. They're not allowed to travel, freely. So that's where the buses, they have a bus that comes in, and they pay them around $20 a month for each child to go to school. And that $20 a month, it's been a hardship for many of these refugees to do. So by teaching them these life skills, now they are able to generate some income so that they can send their kids to school. And yes, I'm all for school, because the school is not just about the content that you learn. It's about the context, to be responsible, to work with other kids, to build your social awareness, and be able to start, using your academic intelligence in the process. So it is important. I mean, there's no way around school. Yes, the life skills are great, but not for the kids yet. In my opinion, it will be for the adults, and the kids, they belong in school at this point.
Okay, very good. Okay, so as far as your organization, Walid's Fund, and the other organizations that offer similar services, how do they compare to one another?
Well, every nonprofit has its mission. Some, they provide the very basics, such as food. Some, they provide hygiene, awareness. The Red Cross is doing most of that work in South Lebanon, and they get donations and help from outside. From food, shelter, tents, clothing. Even there's some NGOs that they provide education for the kids, literacy, so how to be able to read and write for those who cannot go to school. So, and it's not as abundant as the need. However, they're doing the best they can with the resources they have.
Okay. So when you come in, because you're originally from Lebanon, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
So you were able to kind of see as a young child, the disaster and, the desperation and the crises, all the kind of crisis that was going on, to be able to take on this role. But then later on in life, it actually comes to you as something that you felt that you needed to do or wanted to do. Right. So living in the States, because you travel a lot now, right?
I do. Excuse me. I do. Yes, I've seen a couple of 2 or 3 wars as I'm growing up in Beirut and in Lebanon. We went through civil war ourselves, so I understand the human suffering that takes place out of disasters like that. Where people's lives are just taken away within like a second or less. So as I grew up and I and then I decided to pursue my career and my dream here in the United States. I've been very lucky and blessed to have established a good career myself as a trainer, speaker, author, in the realm of leadership development, communication, corporate training. And that's where I get the privilege to be able to travel around the country and around the world, meet a lot of people, and in the process being able to share the mission and give opportunity for the people who want to contribute the chance to do so towards helping these Syrian refugees, so that they won't go into the dark route. Because I mean, everybody has a route. I mean, that they're faced with desperation, and when in desperation there's darkness, and with darkness not a whole lot of choices are offered, and whichever choice that's offered in front of them, out of desperation they could take it. So they have a choice. They could either go the route where they go towards ignorance, towards doing harm for themselves, for others, terrorism, fundamentalism, radicalism, right? Or they have the choice to go and learn a life skill, bring up their confidence, depend on themselves, take the kids to school, and and see hope and see light in the end of the tunnel.
Wow. Okay, so this next question might seem kind of redundant, but where do you get your energy from? Like to be able to motivation, the energy to get up and travel around the world to do what you do, the energy and the motivation. How does that reset? What is it?
Well, it's tough. It's not easy. I'm not gonna deny that. I mean, I eat healthy. I work out every day. I read books. I meditate when I can, and at times when I come back here, I feel all that energy, all that stuff that I've absorbed from the suffering. Then it gets to me, and that's where I go through my own phases of sometimes where I'm not feeling too good about myself. Sometimes I'm feeling so sad inside. Sometimes I feel like I'm suffering inside, and that's where I seek my coaches, my mentors, and people that they could help me heal from all that stuff. So I've have a lot of platforms. I'm very blessed and lucky to be able to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. To do that kind of work, you absolutely need that, because like you said, you absorb all of that, and subconsciously, and sometimes you do go through your ups and downs because of it, and your own life too. But that one thing that's inside of you just keeps you focused and keep you going. And that's a great thing, because we need people like you to do what you're doing, so that we can prevent those things that you mentioned as far as terrorism and violence. And, because once someone loses their confidence and hope, you never know what direction or path they would choose to go into. So Absolutely. I think you're doing an amazing thing. And just to be able to share your journey and your story with whomever watches this, I think it will create something very, very positive and enlightening to a lot of people.
Thank you, Renee.
So I appreciate you. And so now we can go into speaking about fearless transformation. Your organization.
Yes. So fearless transformation is specifically created for the purpose of nonprofits. And the nonprofits have this very specific needs and wants that not many organizations out there are able to provide them with those needs. So we do that through training, consulting, and coaching, how to be able to get their nonprofit to the next level. And that out of my humble experience with the nonprofit that I'm directing, which is Walid's Fund, and my experience learning from the best, which is Dr. Walid White, and have a great board of directors on Walid's Fund, such as Mr. Tom Oliphant and Dr. Edward Harsini. With they have big hearts, and they have their purpose is it's just igniting inside of their hearts. And without these folks around me, I tell you, I won't be able to do it myself. There's no way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, thank you to them as well. I believe everything happens for a reason. And for you too, I think we're having some kind of technical issues. I see slowing down and some freezing going on in the screen. So hopefully everyone is, they can still see and hear. Okay. Jurdi, you're fine. Kal, you're fine. So you don't have to worry about anything. I'm just noticing on my side. So yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And now, where can they find you at on Fearless Transformation if they wanted more information about?
That's fearlesstransformation.com.
Okay,
if you are in a nonprofit industry and you need some to talk about how to take your team to the next level, how to be able to do some strategies on fundraising, or you want to do some leadership development for your people, communication skills between the team members, the volunteers, time management, project management, all that, then please don't hesitate to reach out. Would love to have a conversation, and maybe I can help you, maybe not, but maybe I can steer you also the right direction.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So is there anything else that you would like to share?
Just saying, we're living in a very critical times right now. We are living in a times where people are so indulged in the blame game, where it's much easier to point a finger out there rather than pointing a finger within. It's much easier to say it's their fault rather than saying what I can do. It's much easier to fall as a victim versus to be a victor. So we always have a choice. And my message for everybody who's listening here today, that the choice can easily be me. Okay, what can I do to make a difference? What can I do to make a world just a little bit better out of me being in this short time here on this planet? So thank you for the opportunity for having me here today, Renee.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you, being open enough, because it's people like you who help me to provide this platform and stories and information to people. Because like you said, we are in a very critical time in this world, and the more information and that we can spread, the more we can enlighten, and even myself, I had to look up, refugees to get more of a clearer of what, the amount of refugees and, who they are, what they go through, and why they are displaced and why they have to run away, So I had to, educate myself a little bit more. And that's why I thought it was important for you just to explain to people, who the refugees are and, and what they go through. I mean, you really brought some light onto that subject in a way that gives us more of an understanding of what these people are going through. So I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Yes. So we will, if you like, after the show, Kal, you can absolutely put the website for Fearless Transformation on here. The only one I had was for Walid's fund. So you can all, put that information on there too. But again, for people who would like to donate, we'll put that on there too. So it'll be easier to click on, because looking at the show is one thing, but actually being able to click on something, that will be easier. So we'll do that as well. So for anyone that would like to support Kal, please do so. And all of us would appreciate it, and it would do more than you think to help these people. If you were in their shoes, believe me, you would want some support too. So just kind of think of it that way. So again, thank you, Kal. And if anyone has any questions or comments, please do so. And we'll end the show here. Thank you again. And thank you for everyone that is watching the Renee Adams Show. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.